People like to say affairs destroy families. They don't. They reorganize them. They decide who stays central and who gets pushed to the edges. They don't just break hearts. They redraw the map of who belongs where. I was 19 when my mother announced she was leaving. Not in a dramatic way. No shouting, no tears, no slammed doors. She was standing in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone like she was waiting for a recipe to load. "I'm not happy anymore," she said, not looking at either of us. "I met someone. He makes me feel alive again." The word alive hung in the air like it was supposed to explain everything. My dad was sitting at the table, staring at a mug that had gone cold. He didn't say anything. He didn't even look up. He just kept staring at that mug like if he focused hard enough, it might change back into something warm. I said, "So, that's it?" She finally looked at me then. Not guilty, not angry, just tired. "I'm not built for this kind of life anymore," she said. "I need more." Then she went into the bedroom and started packing like she was late for a train. She didn't cry. She didn't hug me. She didn't look back. Within a week, she was living with the man she'd been calling just a friend for 2 years. And within a month, my dad stopped being my dad. He forgot to eat, forgot to pay bills, forgot what day it was. He'd sit in the living room with the TV on, not watching it, just staring through it. So I became the adult in the house. I paid what I could when his hours got cut. I cooked when he forgot. I sat with him at 2 a.m. when the house felt too big and too quiet and too empty. Once, he said, "You shouldn't have to do this." I said, "Someone has to." For a long time, it was just us. Friday nights were pizza and whatever terrible movie we could agree on. Sundays were grocery runs and fixing things neither of us really knew how to fix. We didn't talk about my mom. We didn't talk about the future. We just kept going. It wasn't a happy time, but it was a together time. It took almost a year before I saw my dad smile for real. Not the polite kind. Not the "I'm fine" kind. The kind where his eyes actually changed. It happened the night we set off the smoke alarm trying to cook pasta. We stood there waving a towel under it, coughing, and he just started laughing. Really laughing. Then I did too. And for a second, the house didn't feel haunted anymore. I helped him rebuild his credit, made spreadsheets, sat with him while he sorted through bills like they were bomb wires. I found a therapist and booked the appointment myself. "You don't have to come," I told him. "I know," he said, "but I'm going to." He started going to the gym again because I went with him. Started seeing coworkers. Started remembering he was a person and not just a before and after photo. And that's when Melissa showed up. She worked with him. Confident, polished. The kind of woman who made every sentence sound like a motivational quote. "You're stronger than you think," she told him the first time I met her, touching his arm like she'd known him forever. At first, I was grateful. Someone else to carry the weight. Someone else to sit with him when I couldn't. Someone else to be there. I didn't realize I was slowly being recast as the problem. Melissa never came out and said she didn't like me. She didn't have to. It came in small comments. "Oh, you two still live together? That's close. You do a lot for him, don't you?" She started rearranging things when she visited. Moving photos, changing routines. One day she laughed lightly and said, "You know, he doesn't really need a caretaker anymore." I said, "Good. That was kind of the point." But my dad started changing anyway. He stopped asking for help. Stopped telling me about his day. Stopped sitting with me in the evenings. One night, I heard her in the kitchen. "She's too involved," Melissa said, her voice low but sharp. "You're never going to move forward if she keeps playing wife." That word hit like a slap. Wife. I didn't say anything. I told myself not to make it worse. Told myself I'd just step back. But stepping back didn't make me disappear. It just made me easier to push. It happened on a Sunday. Dinner. Quiet tension. My dad barely touching his food. Halfway through, Melissa smiled at me like she was about to give a speech she'd practiced in the mirror. "I think we should talk about boundaries," she said. My dad stiffened. "Melissa." "No, it's okay," she said, still smiling. This is healthy. I felt my chest tighten. About what? You've done a lot, she said carefully. But don't you think it's unhealthy to rely on each other this much? I laughed once. Sharp? Rely or survive? Her smile slipped. I just think he would have healed faster if you hadn't made yourself so necessary. Something in me snapped. I was 19 when my mom left, I said. He couldn't get out of bed. Someone had to keep the lights on. That's not your role, she said. You turned yourself into a crutch. I stood up. I turned myself into what he needed. She crossed her arms. You're holding him back. The room went silent. My dad stood up slowly. That's enough, he said. She looked at him. I'm just being honest. He looked at her for a long second, then said very quietly, Do you really believe what you just said? She hesitated. Do you really believe my daughter, who paid bills, cooked meals, sat with me when I couldn't breathe, was the problem? I just think, no, he said. You think loyalty is inconvenient. She opened her mouth, closed it. Then he said, She didn't hold me back. She held me together. Melissa left not long after that. They didn't last. She said she wanted a partner, not unfinished business. My dad didn't stop her. A few months later, I moved out. Not because I was pushed, but because I was ready. We talk all the time now. He's better, stronger, independent. But he never forgets who stayed. People love to rewrite survival as dependence. Love to call care damage. But I know the truth. I wasn't the problem. I was the reason he made it through.